If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, how do you know it? I'm always happy when I come outside in the fresh air and sunshine, and of course I love my garden. And there's a very personal question straight up. What makes you happy, and what does happy actually mean? The psychologists and psychiatrists who don't really like to use that word because it's a little bit airy-fairy, motivational rah-rah, will call it a sense of satisfaction, a sense of peace, a sense of I love my life. Now, does happiness come from what you do, or does it come from pure physiology, or does it come from buying things? Does it come from hanging out with great people? What makes you happy? And it may be different for everybody, but the actual physiology of happiness comes from a neurotransmitter called serotonin. You've probably heard of it. It's a satisfaction neurotransmitter. It's the happy chemical inside your brain that says you love your life, you feel fantastic, you feel satisfied. Isn't life amazing? And how do you make sure that you've got a brain full of serotonin, neurotransmitter that makes you feel satisfied with your life, that makes you feel happy? And there's lots of ways to change your brain chemistry. And if you're miserable, could you choose to change your brain chemistry so that you do feel happy, that you do feel satisfied, that you do have serotonin, the right levels of serotonin in your brain to make you feel satisfied with your life? And the answer to that is yes, but it's a very personal thing because you have to make the choice. And have you met people, do you know people, have you experienced people who seem to like being unhappy? Because you can actually become happy without drugs, without even changing your lifestyle that much. If you go and do something that changes the serotonin levels in your brain, so you produce a chemical that makes you feel satisfied with your life, you can feel happy regardless. And I'll use a simple example of that. If you've ever travelled to third world countries where people have nothing, they're broke, they live on the bones of their ass, they live on the dirt literally with maybe not even a roof over their head, but they're still really happy. How is that? Because a lot of people think, well, I'll be happy if I'm a millionaire, I'll be happy if I have a new car, I'll be happy if I get a new job, I'll be happy when I'm on holidays. And maybe that's the challenge. I'll be happy if and when, rather than what do I need to do to change the chemicals in my brain to make me feel really happy? And it's a pretty simple process. The human body's designed to stay alive. So fight and flight means if I'm under threat, if I'm stressed, if I'm unhappy, if I'm miserable, if I'm grumpy, my body doesn't want that. So my body will do everything to get rid of that stress. But it comes from fight and flight. So your body produces epinephrine, adrenaline, cortisol. So you can fight and flight, you can sprint, you can lift heavy, you can fight, you can get rid of the stress out of your body. And then once you've done that, the human body is designed to feel really good, reproduce. And I always have a giggle about this because ultimately the human body is only designed biologically for two things: stay alive and reproduce. But obviously if you're dead, you can't reproduce, so your body does everything to keep you alive. But you also don't want to reproduce if you're depressed, if you're angry, if you're unhappy, if you're emotional, negative emotions affecting your brain. So that's why after you've fought and flighted, so after you've fought the animal, overcome the threat, got rid of the stress, your body then fills up with, your brain fills up with serotonin, which is the satisfaction neurotransmitter, dopamine, which is a reward transmitter, oxytocin, if you are around other people who you really like, which is the love drug, the love transmitter, the chemical that says, I love all the people in my life and I love hanging out with people. And then brain-derived neurotropic factor, which is the fertilizer for your brain to make sure that next time when you're under stress, under pressure, you've got horrible things happening in your life, you get even better at overcoming them. So your body's designed to overcome a threat and then feel good, feel satisfied with your life. So you can create all of that yourself, yeah? Go lift something heavy, go get puffed. Your body will produce the chemicals that you need to do that. So your body will produce epinephrine, adrenaline, cortisol, so you can fight and flight, woohoo! And then you'll feel happy, satisfied. You'll often hear about endorphins, which are another neurotransmitter. They're the pain-killing drug to make sure that you can fight and flight, and then you'll feel really satisfied, happy, rewarded, on a high. you often, or you may have heard of an expression called a runner's high. That's when you flight, when you get away from something, when you de-stress because you've run away, you de-stress because you've fought. Now you feel on a high. And you literally are, because when we get addicted to anything, it's not the thing that we get addicted to. So we don't get addicted to smoking, drinking, drugs, gambling, shopping. We get addicted to the feeling of serotonin and dopamine, and usually dopamine is the neurotransmitter that's attached to addiction. But when you create dopamine from fighting and flighting, it's just a reward to say, congratulations, you got away from the threat, let's get better for next time, let's produce brain-derived neurotropic factor, the fertilizer for your brain, so that you can be better for next time. So if I wrap all of that up, can you be happy without anything in your life? Yes, you can choose to be happy, because when you get puffed and when you lift heavy, you change your brain chemistry and you automatically feel good, regardless of where you are. If you add to that, learn, laugh, huff, puff, lift. So if you're learning, you're laughing, you're hanging out with lovely people, and you are getting puffed and lifting heavy, you've now got a complete package of the ability to feel happy anywhere at any time. So if you think that cars and money and holidays and beautiful homes are going to make you happy, there's a really sad part to that. I'm an old lady who's lived on the planet a really long time, and I know lots and lots of people who have beautiful cars, nice houses, beautiful jewellery, great holidays, private jets, and they're bloody miserable because they don't change their brain chemistry. And the tiny dopamine rush that you get from shopping or going on holidays or drinking fine champagne, you need more and more and more and more of that to get a tiny little injection of dopamine. But if you fight and flight, if you get puffed and lift heavy, your body constantly produces those beautiful chemicals for the right reasons. So if you want to feel happy, you can. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, you can be. Live your life to the max. Fight and flight, get puff, lift heavy, and you will feel happy. Woohoo! Ha ha ha!